Good evening, welcome to ITV News Meridian. Tonight's headlines: carnage in Oxfordshire. A woman dies, several are injured in a 20-car pileup. Other lives are lost in Hampshire as motorists are warned, beware of freezing fog. Southampton's West Quay is evacuated after reports of smoke. Thousands of shoppers are left waiting on the pavements outside.
George basically has been like the theme track of my life.
And remembering George Michael. More fans arrive at his home near Reading as Childline's Esther Ranson tells of his remarkable generosity. Good evening to you. There are warnings tonight to be extra careful on the roads after freezing thick fog caused carnage in Oxfordshire and in parts of Hampshire. One woman died and several people were injured in 4 accidents on the A40 involving around 20 cars this morning. The road was closed between Witney and Minster Lovell. There were other fatal collisions too. Temperatures overnight were recorded at -3 and -4, and at Benson in Oxfordshire around -6. With today's story, Kerry Johnston.
It was a scene of utter devastation, the result of a multiple pile-up on the A40, which police say at one point involved scores of motorists.
Well, we've had a multi-vehicle collision. That's on the eastbound carriageway of the A40, just outside Witney. We've actually looking at 2 main scenes. One involves a serious injury and the other involves a fatality.
Police say at least 16 vehicles were involved in the 2 main collisions here on the A40 and that the extremely foggy conditions may have played a part.
Certainly there was a lot of fog, a lot of ice this morning. That is forming part of our investigation. I'd advise any drivers on the road at this time of year to take extra caution when driving.
This viewer's video was taken just a few minutes after the initial crash. Police already directing traffic away from the area, having closed the A40 in both directions. 1 woman died at the scene, while 4 people were taken to the John Ratcliffe Hospital in Oxford, 2 with serious injuries.
Upon arriving on scene, my crews were faced with a very challenging scene to manage, not only because of the environment and the weather, but due to the sheer numbers of damaged vehicles they were presented with, and over a vast length of road, of carriageway. Sadly, there was 1 fatality on scene, and our thoughts and condolences go out to the family of that individual.
Nearly 8 years ago, the same stretch of road was closed after an accident involving 2 cars and a pickup truck. And earlier this year, 20 people were injured in a crash on the A40 carriageway near Wheatley. Today, though, a fatality and a warning for drivers to take extra care, especially in wintry conditions. Kerry Johnston, ITV News, Witney.
And the council says it did grip the A40 last night. There have been other fatal accidents too around our region. A person has died today on the A343 at Highclere near Newbury, again in thick fog. A 60-year-old driver from the Andover area in a Mercedes van crashed into a tree and was pronounced dead at the scene. A pensioner has been knocked down and killed while directing traffic in Burley. The 71-year-old from Bournemouth was hit on the A35 in the New Forest at around 5:20 yesterday. The road was closed for several hours. Police are appealing for witnesses who may have seen the victim trying to help the traffic. And black ice has been blamed for a crash on the M27 in Hampshire this morning. 3 cars were involved near Whiteley on the westbound carriageway just before 7 o'clock this morning. They collided between junctions 8 and 9. Hampshire Fire Service said a car had skidded on black ice and had pulled onto the hard shoulder. Well, Philippa will be here with your weather forecast soon, and you can keep up to date with the weather on our website, itv.com/Meridian. In other news, thousands of shoppers were left out in the cold this afternoon when Southampton's West Quay shopping centre had to be evacuated. 5 fire engines and an ambulance arrived outside the multi-million-pound shopping arcade shortly before 1 o'clock after the fire alarm was activated in the Pizza Express restaurant. No one was injured and the centre reopened an hour later. The family of a prison officer who died after being attacked on the Isle of Wight have been paying tribute to him. Father of two, Nick Medlin, who was 57, worked at Parkhurst Prison and died early on Christmas Day in Ventnor after a night out. His family say they are completely devastated and heartbroken. Friends say he was funny, kind and caring. A short time ago, one man was charged with manslaughter. Two others being questioned have been bailed until April. Thames Valley Police is reminding drivers not to drink and drive this festive season. It's released this photo of a car that left the road and crashed headfirst into a building in Buckinghamshire. The driver was found to be twice over the legal drink-drive limit. Scotland Yard says it's still searching for a student who failed to turn up to her parents' home in Oxfordshire for Christmas Day. Isabel Gaither's family had raised the alarm and reported her missing, saying it was completely out of character. But on her Facebook page, however, the message says, "I'm not missing, a day and a half out of contact, and this is what happens." Police, though, say they need to speak to Miss Gaither to prove that she is safe and well. Brighton has been named as one of the most expensive places to watch the new year come in. The city came sixth in research by the website Cheap Rooms. The Scottish capital of Edinburgh topped the list. Thousands of people have continued to arrive at George Michael's home in Oxfordshire to pay tribute to the singer who tragically died on Christmas Day. The town's church has also become a focus for those who want to pay their respects. Today it was announced that the star would be buried next to his beloved mother in London. Mary Stanley has the latest.
There was a mood of quiet stillness as people came to lay flowers at the Oxfordshire home of George Michael. Some in tears, many travelling for hours to be here. One woman told me she had to come to see for herself that the awful news was true.
I was in love with George Michael as a teenager and I'm still in love with him now. Just a wonderful guy. Yeah, we drove 4 hours, didn't we? And stayed over last night, and it's been wonderful. We felt we had to come.
In recent days, stories have come to light about George Michael's kindness and generosity, giving millions to charity. And many people have come here not just to pay tribute, but with notes saying simply thanks. More tributes have been left at the local church, where the visitors' book has become an unofficial book of condolence. This couple were invited to a free concert given by George Michael for the NHS nurses who cared for his mum.
Just seemed to be quite proud of all the nurses
and just
and wanted to give a little bit back.
Token of thanks, wasn't it? It's just so sad, so sad.
We've certainly had a lot of visitors. People have written messages, people have come for quiet and to pray, and we hope that they'll find comfort and peace and something of the hope that comes through Christian faith.
Talking on Good Morning Britain, Esther Ransom gave her memories of the man who donated millions of pounds to her charity Childline.
Year after year he gave us gifts and it meant so much. I mean, it was like, I don't know, a message from such a great star that these children are important and valued and need someone to protect them.
He was a pin-up of the 80s, a musical icon with a string of solo hits. He faced demons of drug abuse and brushes with the law. But to those in Goring-on-Thames, he was just George, who shopped in the town and drank in the pub, and they were proud to call their neighbour.
I think people just felt really, really fond of him and the fact that he was here.
I don't think we would see in our lifetime someone so talented like him.
Mary Stanley, ITV News, Goring-on-Thames.
Very sad. Meanwhile, there have been tributes to the author of Watership Down, Richard Adams, who's died aged 96. Mr. Adams, who was raised near Newbury in Berkshire but later lived in Whitchurch, passed away peacefully, his family said. He wrote the much-loved story of a group of rabbits escaping from their doomed warren in search of a new home. It went on to become a bestseller and a cinema hit in 1978. Much of Watership Down in the north of Hampshire is now owned by the composer Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber. The biggest railway engineering works the region has seen continues to cause disruption for passengers, with Paddington closed and work at Waterloo and London Bridge ongoing. It's a much longer journey for those having to work between Christmas and the New Year. But as our transport correspondent Mike Pearce has been finding out, many seem to have avoided the chaos.
On the 8 minutes past 7 from Newbury to London this morning, there were hardly any passengers. It's usually one of the busiest trains. With Paddington still closed, Ealing Broadway is the end of the main line, and it's then on the much busier Underground. But it seems many stayed away to avoid the disruption.
It's quite disruptive.
Got to go Ealing Broadway, then get Central Line to Tottenham Court Road.
I mean, not that much, like next 20 minutes. Yeah, it's not too bad.
Usually this train is packed, so a slight inconvenience to me is far better than inconvenience in a full train later on in the year.
Here at Maidenhead, they're replacing and renewing track for the Crossrail project. 2 lines are closed until the new year as part of the Paddington Line works. There's more work at Waterloo and London Bridge. Well, this is one of 200 work sites there have been over the Christmas holiday, with some 24,000 staff on the tracks carrying out the work.
We've been replacing lots of sets of points. We've been putting in new track that's worn out. We've been putting in new platforms, new electrification. The range of projects is absolutely huge, actually. We've got a lot of more work still to do between now and New Year. But I'm very confident that it's going to continue to be as successful as what we've done so far.
Engineers working in freezing conditions say they've been kept going with hot refreshments and a festive lunch.
It's like a family away from home on the job. So whilst we're away from our loved ones, there has been a little bit of festive joy.
And services remain disrupted until the new year. Mike Pearce, ITV News, Maidenhead.
Well, in football, Brighton are hoping to end the year on a high after going top of the Championship. Chris Hughton's men extended their unbeaten run to 17 matches yesterday to go 2 points clear of Newcastle. The Seagulls took control against QPR in the 11th minute, with Sam Baldock coolly slotting home. Then top scorer Glenn Murray grabbed his 15th goal of the season from the penalty spot. And Anthony Knockaert really wrapped things up for Brighton with 20 minutes to go. And they'll hope to extend their lead at the top when they host Cardiff City on Friday. Meanwhile, Southampton's first festive fixture is tonight as they host the Spurs. Manager Claude Puel says the team are determined to qualify for Europe again with a strong finish in the Premier League. And he believes a win tonight will give them the springboard to do just that.
We have I think a chance to stay ambitious for the second part of the season, and it's important with this game in Premier League to come back in the first position, to stay in the first time at the first part of the table.
Well, good luck to the Saints tonight. Fog, of course, has been causing so many problems on the roads today. As we said earlier, more fog is forecast. With the details, with your forecast, is Philippa Drew.
From blizzards to pool, driving through Europe. Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Hello there. Well, the next few days are set to bring fairly settled weather, but the bad news is that it also comes with fog. Certainly the Met Office have a warning for fog valid right through tonight and into the first part of tomorrow. Some dense patches expected in places and the risk of disruption to travel as a result. And we can see just why. High pressure very much in charge today and not really moving very far over the next 24 to 48 hours or so. So staying settled, but still with that continued risk of mist and fog through the nighttime periods. And that's certainly the case overnight tonight. As I said, mist and fog becoming widespread, some dense patches developing in places, and with that a chilly night on the cards. Temperatures easily down close to freezing, a touch below in some rural spots, so a widespread ground frost and an air frost in places too. So tomorrow morning a chilly start, mist and fog first thing. The mist and fog really taking its time to clear through the day. It will clear slowly down towards the south, here perhaps some bright or sunny spells peeping through, but further north that fog could well persist right through the day in places. A chilly day where that happens, temperatures probably struggling to 4 or 5, a touch higher further south, 7 or 8 degrees, and light winds too. Do take care out there. Bye-bye.
Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
So do take care in the fog and the frost. Well, that's the way we are looking so far this evening. Next, the ITV Evening News. I shall be back tomorrow just after 5:15. Do join me for that if you can. But for now, from the team here at ITV Meridian, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe from us all. Bye-bye.